Juju Watkins is done for the season. Yep, that's right. We've talked before about potential injuries. We saw her roll her ankle earlier. I talked about her playing in games, continuing to play, coming back, and playing in garbage time while up 30, and how that can be a risk for injury just by being in there when you might normally be on the bench. Welcome back to your channel TFD. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. For those who didn't see it yet, this has been confirmed from what I've seen as an ACL tear. We know how devastating they can be. Unfortunately, we don't know if there's anything else. There could be other damage to the knee, but we don't know that yet. As of now, we're talking about an ACL, so we're looking at, if everything goes well, 9 months on the short end to 12 months. And then, of course, getting back to your normal self takes time as well. You know, you can come back, you can be playing, you can be recovered, but you're not necessarily really yourself. I can speak to that from experience, having had a really bad break in my lower leg and ankle, needing a titanium plate put in. When I was finally ready to go, it was a long time before I had any explosiveness off that leg. Every time I would plant or jump, it just felt dead. It felt like I didn't have any oomph at all to it. So hopefully it is just an ACL tear. I know just probably isn't the right word, but hopefully there isn't any other damage going on there. And that Juju gets the best care, gets her knee taken care of, has a great recovery, and is back to playing in the minimum amount of time. Unfortunately, as you'll see here, I have a couple of clips. Just a warning, if you don't want to see it, I'm about to show an angle of the injury. It's actually her right leg, and you'll see, as is unfortunately typical with a lot of these injuries, it is non-contact. Juju is driving to the basket here between two players. Just watch her right leg, you'll see it right there, just gives out. The knee bends inward, and she goes down in a lot of pain. This is a short clip. I didn't expect it to show a second time that fast. And then we have the angle from behind. Again, if this isn't something you want to watch, skip ahead. But you can see how her right leg at that last plant, when she really goes to cut and drive in, right there, it just wobbles, bends inward, knee gives out. And unfortunately, an ACL tear. It really is a shame. You hate to see that happen to any player. I've seen this happen to young players as well, and more often than not, it is non-contact. Female athletes are more susceptible due to biology. A lower center of gravity, hip structure, and other factors make ACL tears more likely. But we see it far too often, period. This is a topic near and dear to me because I've actually created programs to help athletes lower the risk of ACL injuries through proper strength training. You're never going to reduce the risk to zero. You're not going to simply prevent injuries, but you can absolutely lower the risk by doing the right things and having the right program. That's why I cringe so often when I see clips of teams doing routines and workouts that are just not good enough. There simply aren't enough good, qualified strength coaches and athletic trainers out there for all the athletes and teams. A bad program can be worse than no program at all. Proper strength training, agility work, mobility, flexibility, stability, and one of the biggest factors, deceleration training. Most non-contact ACL injuries happen when an athlete is decelerating, not accelerating. That's exactly what happened to Juju. She was getting ready to go to the basket, planting hard to cut, and that's when the injury happened. Teaching athletes how to decelerate properly, giving them a solid strength base, these things matter. I don't want to go too deep into this, but seeing these injuries frustrates me because we can reduce the risk. For example, one of the best strength training exercises to protect the knee has been smeared and maligned for years: the squat. Now, squatting improperly will cause problems, just like doing any exercise improperly. But you don't say, "Oh, squats are dangerous," just because some people do them wrong. Squatting correctly is one of the best ways to protect the knee. Now, prayers to Juju. I really hope she has the best recovery possible, that she doesn't have any setbacks, and that she gets back to basketball as quickly as possible. And most importantly, that she gets back to being herself as quickly as possible. Because even when she's back playing, it's going to take some time before she truly feels like herself again. Thankfully, as we continue to improve with technology, medical procedures, and rehab techniques, athletes are getting back to 100% more often than ever before. Hopefully, that's what's in store for Juju. Now, shifting gears a bit, this next part is just wild. You know all those old guard WNBA fans? The ones who've been watching forever and keep saying, "It's always been great. People just weren't paying attention. Well, here's one of those wonderful people. But, as they say here, this woman, or lank disgrace of a human being, is mentally disturbed in the head.
Yeah.
So here's what they did. They held a Twitter space after Juju got hurt, titled, "God Never Takes Caitlyn's Knee."
Wow.
I'm almost speechless at that. I mean, there are a lot of things I could say, but I try to keep this a family-friendly channel as much as possible in terms of my language. But yeah, that's what you're getting. So, this is about the same person who called Caitlyn a man, right? The same person. Natalie Esquire. Remember Natalie? She was laughing when she called Caitlyn a Mayo princess. This is why the day we remove these disturbing individuals from the WNBA space is the day I'll believe the league is ready to move forward. 100%. 100% to that point. Now, as I've said before, Twitter and YouTube are very, very different. Twitter is a cesspool in general. I much prefer YouTube. I do. I'm on Twitter for research and sports updates. It's a good place to find breaking news if you're following the right people and so forth. But every once in a while, I can't help myself and make a comment. But as you can see here to that point, all the weirdo witches who've been preying on her injury because they worried about that record can go to hell. And I responded, I had to respond to this because, of course, that's a shot at Caitlyn Clark fans. None of whom have been wishing injury on Juju Watkins, for the record. And I calmly mentioned that. I haven't seen any Clark fans wish injury on Juju Watkins. Now, what's wild is that at this point, my comment already has far more likes than the actual post. Now, I did get a comment back in response to my very, very nice comment. Oh, where'd it go? I have it here somewhere. Now I just have to find it. Yes, here it is. In response to my comment, I got, "That's all you do is say she gon' get injured trying to chase the record. I've been muted, yo."
Wow.
Quality English. Respect the grammar. Well done. Clearly educated. As all of you know, I have talked multiple times and just did a video on it about the risk of injury for Juju by staying in games late when they're up 30. Right? That's how you end up rolling an ankle or tearing an ACL. Now, that was not the case here. This wasn't a situation where they were up by 50 points with 2 minutes to go, and she was still in the game. But you all know I've talked about this multiple times, just from her being in the game when she rolled her ankle previously. I did a video on it yesterday or the day before, when she rolled her ankle again and went back in. Never said, I wanted her injured. This is a flat-out lie. Never wished injury on Juju. Never said anything about wanting her to be injured for Caitlyn Clark to keep the record. I warned. I said, look, you don't do this because you're risking injury. Anybody who's a Caitlyn Clark fan wouldn't want her in the game with 3 minutes to go when they're up by 25. It's risking injury. It's absurd. It's stupid. But as you can see, the WNBA has a lot of cleaning up to do in order to move forward and actually be a successful professional basketball league. Because these people have lost their minds. Now, real quick, this has gone a little long. USC has Kansas State coming up. Even without Juju, I think they win that game. Kiki had, 36 points last game? I think they still won by 40. Now, after that, they're probably going to get UConn. That's a tough game, even with Juju. So we'll see. Because I'll leave you with this parting thought about USC's chances in the short term. I've seen it. I've seen it in teams I've coached. I've seen it in teams I've played on. In the short term, when you lose a star player to injury, the rest of the team can come together, elevate their play, and deliver great performances. Long term, when you're talking about a season, most likely not. But when you're talking about one game or a couple of games, very much possible. So we'll see what USC can do. I wish them well. I wish Juju a speedy recovery. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you as always. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.
Just unfortunate, man.
Her team now has this campaign where they're trying to bring a ring for Juju, and hopefully, they can get that job done. It has been kind of an eerie day today in the basketball community, with Juju Watkins suffering what she went through yesterday. A lot of people have been reacting to it. It made national news. Now, Stephen A. Smith spoke about it on First Take today, and yeah, dog, let's pull up what Caitlin Clark has said before we get more into people reacting to it. So, Caitlin Clark actually took to her X account, which she almost never does, but it just shows you the level of awareness she has of what's going on in the world because she quickly responded to Juju today. Now, Caitlin hadn't made a post in like a days. She said, "Sending all my thoughts and prayers to Juju. Kid will come back stronger than ever." As you can see, it already has over 1 million views on her account. And yeah, man, Caitlin Clark definitely sent out major love to Juju Watkins. It has over 200 comments. I definitely don't want to see anything like that happen to any athlete. It's just unfortunate, man. This is what an official NBA analyst had to say earlier today. Let's roll the footage.
I mean, it's just so heartbreaking, honestly, for anyone to get an injury. You never want to see that, but especially at this time of the year when she's obviously so critical to her team as well. It's really heartbreaking. So definitely my thoughts are with her and her family at this time because, I know she's going to come back better than ever, but the timing is definitely, it sucks.
And Nafisa, fantasize this for me. If Juju never gets hurt, what did you see her doing in this NCAA tournament and what did you see USC doing?
Well, they were supposed to play UConn next round, so hopefully not going much farther past that. I thought that was going to be a great game, though. So, but I mean, she's a great player, and I mean, I think it would have been a great game. I think it would have been the two best players in college basketball right now going at each other, and to see them do that at this level right now, it would have been really fun to watch. Obviously, I have to pick my Huskies in that matchup, but it would have been a fun game.
Rebecca, you've torn your ACL before. Can you just take us through your experience? Tell us what Juju may be facing here and what an eventual return could look like.
Well, what we've seen, especially recently with high-level athletes in terms of women's college basketball, is it's about a 12-month recovery process for them to get back on the court. First of all, emotionally, you're torn. This is what every athlete dreams of, is this time of year and playing in the NCAA tournament. And Juju and her team had a realistic chance to win a national championship this year. So, of course, there's a lot of emotions and feelings there. But one thing that she can look to is the success of some of her contemporaries. We saw Paige Beckers a couple of years ago tear an ACL and then returned last year and led UConn to a Final Four. Olivia Miles from Notre Dame tore her ACL, sat out last year, and this year, Malika, she's having a career year in terms of her efficiency. So we have seen players come back from this, perform at a really high level. One of the things that's interesting to me as a person who covers the WNBA, Juju Watkins is a player who is eligible for the 2027 draft. Assuming she redshirts next season, which I think is a fair assumption, she would still be able to enter that 2027 draft, but could also return to USC for a fourth year of eligibility and wait until the 2028 draft. So that's a layer of this looking down the road that is certainly interesting to WNBA GMs.
Yeah.